Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk some Green Bay Packers this evening as we had locker cleanouts earlier today. All kinds of news breaking across everything that is Green Bay Packers. We heard from the players. We heard a lot of injury information that came out. If you guys didn't see that, you can go back and watch the video we did on Zach Tom and the timeline of him potentially being healthy. He is going to have surgery. Kind of got some of us panicking. Other people were going, no, it ain't a big deal. So we'll kind of see how that unfolds. We'll keep an eye on that as we get closer to mini camps, things like that, see if we get an update on how his rehab process is going. But tonight, we're going to talk about the players reacting to the Matt LaFleur conversation of Matt LaFleur potentially being replaced, fired, potentially traded, whatever it may be. A lot of the team captains actually were asked and spoke on Matt LaFleur today. We'll hit on that. We also have a flurry of Packers roster moves we're going to hit on, okay, as they sign some future deals, which will kind of explain what that means for the Packers roster moving forward. And then we've got a little bit of a Devontae Wyatt injury update, some details on the injury that I know I didn't know completely, and timeline of him returning, and maybe just a quick little evaluation. How did Devontae Wyatt look in 2025? So that's what we got on tap. Before we get into all of it, if you would, do that YouTube stuff for us. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We are Packer fans through and through, just like you, and just covering the Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified anytime we do go live here in the near future. Tim, how was your day, sir? You look like you've been politicking out there, man. All cleaned up. Like, I don't know, you running for office here? What we got going on, man?
Yeah, I'll just put it like this: NFL coaching candidates aren't the only ones doing interviews on a Monday. That's all we got to say. So
let's get it. Let's get it,
go,
sir. My man, gonna crush it. Gonna crush it. All right, let's waste no time. I see the chat is already on fire. Thank y'all so much for jumping in here on kind of short notice. Didn't know if I was going to do another show this evening, but I'm glad we did. Get here to talk some ball with Tim. Let's waste no time. Get into it, Tim. The leaders of the team, the Packers, are speaking out on Matt LaFleur and his future with the Packers, and I wanted to get your take on all of this. There was multiple players that spoke out, right? Josh Jacobs was mentioned, we mentioned him yesterday. He spoke out, ringing endorsement on Matt LaFleur. He wants him back. Had nothing but great things to say about Matt LaFleur. And I'm like, okay, what are the other players saying? There were several people that tweeted this stuff out. Cameron Azar, great follow on Twitter. He posted a video or two here as well. We're just going to kind of hear from some of the key players on the Green Bay Packers. You know, it's one thing for me to say, yeah, I want Matt back. Or maybe, Tim, I assume you want Matt LaFleur back too. Is that safe to say, Tim? Is that your opinion as well?
That's a big 10-4. That's a Roger that. Affirmative, 100%.
Now, Tim, if they were to fire Matt LaFleur, run him out of town, right, and listen to some of the fans that don't want him back, would you stop rooting for the Green Bay Packers?
Hell no. Green and gold till I'm dead and cold, baby.
Thank you. Some people, they think when you vouch for someone and we're giving our opinion as fans, hey, we want this dude to be the head coach, we want this player to be on the team, they just assume, if they don't come back, they're not going to. No, that's not how this works, man. If they can the entire team, I'm still a Green Bay Packer fan. I'm still going to talk about the Packers, cover the Packers, root for the Packers, right? So,
amen. I survived the 80s. Are you kidding me? Come on. Oh.
Exactly. And I grew up a Kentucky Wildcat football fan, so I've been ran through the ringer for a long, long time, if you know what I mean. So let's waste no time, man. Tucker Kraft, what did he have to say about the rumors of Matt LaFleur potentially being fired / not re-upped on the contract? All that good stuff. Here is what Tucker Kraft had to say.
Well, I don't think there's anyone else that – I mean, how complex of an offense that we run. Well, first I'll start off with Matt. Matt's been nothing but generous to me, my wife, and my family since we've been here. I mean, constant communication with me ever since I was a rookie. He's just trying to get the best out of each and every one of his players. And He comes in with the right mentality every single day to coach us up to be the best version of ourselves for the best legacy team in the NFL. I don't think there's another coach that could come in and do it as well as he does it, especially with the complexities that are in this offense. When you get players that get into year 3 in this offensive tree, like the offensive knowledge that we had retained year after year, it's only getting better here. I think Matt's an outstanding head coach. There's no doubt in my mind that he'll remain here as a Packer. I think a lot of that talk is pretty silly.
Oh, I didn't hear that last part. That's the first time I heard that last part. He threw in the little, I think a lot of that talk's silly. So obviously
Chuck Norris dropping truth bombs. I love it.
Right. And obviously he's talking about the complexity of the offense. I know that portion of the fan base that gets real loud from time to time is Matt LaFleur is vanilla. Matt LaFleur is predictable. Matt LaFleur isn't aggressive enough. I was hearing Tauscher talk about this on Wildy and Tausch earlier today, and he was like, people are saying we wasn't aggressive enough. We threw the ball 70% of the time in the game. Like, well, again, what game? And it's just.
Yeah, what are you watching? Which game are you watching? Because
Right.
I was screaming at my TV, like, run the damn ball in the middle 8, third quarter.
That's what I was going to say, Tim, was immediately people hear me say that portion of the fan base probably thinks, well, you're just defending Matt. You don't know. No, I actually disagree with us throwing the ball 70% of the time.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you guys.
I'm simply saying, like, the people that's the reason you should fire him is he's too conservative. That is not the case at all. At all. Now, with that being said, the complexity of the offense, right, and the lack of being predictable. Someone, and I talked about this the other day, and I wish I could go find the chart. Someone had built a chart, right, at XY axis, whatever it is, to the square root of 375, whatever the hell they call them, right? I'm just a dumb redneck that likes football, okay? But it showed that he was the most unpredictable play caller in the league. Which to
for every
me,
jet sweep we bitch about on 3rd and 1 or something, right. they tend to work and catch a team off guard more often than not, really.
Absolutely. So again, Tucker Kraft, he's on board with Matt LaFleur, and he went as far as saying it was silly talk. Now, this Micah Parsons audio, I wanted to play this. Rob Domofsky tweeted it out, but unfortunately, the audio is so low, I had to turn my PC all the way up to 100 volume just to kind of confirm and hear what he's saying. So we'll just throw the screenshot of the tweet up here so you can see what Rob Domofsky or what Micah Parsons said, okay? And this is what Rob tweeted out. Micah Parsons with a strong endorsement of Packers coach Matt LaFleur, quote, I reached out to him when I started seeing this, and I said, when I agreed to come here, you were a part of the reason. Tim, that is huge. That is Micah Parsons telling the organization. Again, you know how when coaches talk to the media, they're talking to their players?
Yeah.
When players are talking to the media,
vice versa, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking to the organization too, right? That's Micah going, hold up a minute. When we agreed on me coming here and I wanted to be a Green Bay Packer, I wanted to play for Matt LaFleur. That's the dude I wanted to come here and go to battle with. And now 1 year in, you're going to run his ass off? No. Ain't working like that. So again,
a Brinks truck full of money is one thing, but I agreed to come here for culture and for a change, and I totally feel that. I respect Micah for that comment.
Yeah, I do too, man. I think it's awesome. And Jason, I see your super chat, buddy. Thank you so much. I'll hit that as soon as we get through running through the information. We really, really appreciate that, pal. So yeah, again, this is Micah Parsons. You hear Tucker Kraft say it's silly talk. Micah Parsons is saying Matt LaFleur is one of the main reasons I came here. Going to cause quite a rift there, you know. And again, isn't it funny that Aaron Rodgers wanted kind of some say in how the organization was doing stuff, and people could not stand that? Well, now you just got Micah Parsons, and you gave him the bag, and now he's kind of taking the same approach as Aaron Rodgers. That's not to take a shot at Micah Parsons. That's how superstars respond. Yeah. Like, they want say in the team. They want to feel like, hey, look, is he the best player on the football team? I think he is. I think Micah Parsons is the best player on the Packers team. If I'm the best player and I'm the one who's bringing the most value of any other player in the team, shouldn't my opinion matter a little bit more?
And that's exactly what it is, Clay. You're right. It's not about open up the books, let me be GM, let me make hire and fire decisions. Is my input valued? Right. Because you certainly value me to bring me in here. and to
Right.
trust me to, steer the ship, so to speak, maybe my input should be considered at the very least, right?
Yeah, right, right. And again, it's not that I should have final say, and that's kind of what Jordan was or Aaron was saying there on down the stretch too. Was it was like I didn't give a demand and a list of players like the media reported. Like I want this, 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 and this, or I'm out of here. I'm going to be pissed. No, it was just I've been in the game for so long. Don't you want my input? And that kind of goes hand in hand with what we talked about with.
Well, don't you want a player to tell you, hey, I love my coach. I believe in my
right.
coach. My coach believes in me. And it's not just me. It's 35, 50, 60 guys in this room that feel the same way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Reef says, Clay, this is defense saying that. Unless you just jumped in, Reef, if you're saying this is just a defensive player saying that. Tucker Kraft just said it was silly talk. That's a team captain, one of your leaders on offense there too, if that's what you meant. And I know sometimes we get things mixed up in the chat.
We can pull up the roster and run down the list of guys that are going to praise Matt LaFleur.
Right.
Josh, we don't have 5 hours to do a show, though, to run through that whole list.
And Josh Jacobs said the same thing. Josh Jacobs ringing endorsement, right? Okay, if that is what he meant there, okay, here is Jordan Love in the post-game presser. And it got specifically mentioned in the post-game presser. Fans were calling for Matt LaFleur to be fired. That was one of the kind of the comments to Matt LaFleur. And he said, I'm not going to address that. That's not up to me, blah, 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 right? As Nick McSwain said, J Love also vehemently vouched for him, right? Here we go. Here's Jordan Love's comments after the game on Matt LaFleur.
Jordan, do you think Matt should remain the coach of this team, and why do you think that is so?
Yeah, I definitely think Matt should be the head coach. I got a lot of love for Matt. I think he does a great job, and that's it.
What does this team need then, Jordan, to take the next step?
Got to win games like this. You got to take advantage of games. You jump out to a 21-3 lead. You got to find ways to finish that and be better all around and just finish.
So how do you accomplish that? Do you need some better players, better play calls? It's easy to say go for a win, but how do you get that accomplished?
Yeah, you get back to work. It all comes down to execution.
All right, there you go.
QB1, J Money, the dime thrower. Can we talk about his hoodie game for a second? Hoodie and vest game.
Oh, bro.
Salute J Money. I love it.
Yeah.
I love this whole attitude. Did you see zero hesitation in answering that question?
Yeah, not at all.
I want to stay, period, point blank.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. And again, these are the team leaders, right? These are the guys. These were captains. These were all captains. Jordan Love's a captain. Tucker Kraft's a captain. Micah Parsons. I don't know if Micah Parsons is a captain or not. He came in kind of late. Maybe he wasn't listed as a captain, but I think we would all agree he's going to be a captain next year.
He'll have the C on his chest in 2026.
Ain't no doubt about it. So that's what the players think. Now let's real quick here, Tim. Let's go through and see what the fans think. So I did a poll question today. Again, updated it. Now, before, again, we were seeing somewhere between 75 to 85% in favor for keeping Matt LaFleur. And then you had that epic collapse, right, against the Bears. And it's okay. That's going to sway it. And I went in going, maybe it's in the opposite direction now, right? Here's what I asked. I said, Micah Parsons, Tucker Kraft, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs each said they wanted Matt LaFleur to be their head coach moving forward. Do you agree with them, or should Matt LaFleur should be fired? Look at my redneck ass. Don't know how to type. It happens every day, Tim, every day. Here was the results. Keep him 62.4%, fire him 37.6%. So it moved, depending on which poll question you looked at before, let's say 10%. It moved roughly 10% in the negative aspect. And I get that some people change their vote. I'm not dogging them. But again, 62% of the votes said they wanted to keep him at 62.4%. All right. Moving along, I asked more specifically yesterday, and here is the final results of this poll question.
This was my favorite right here.
Yeah, Packer fans, you have to sign one of these three coaches to a 3-year contract. Who are you taking? Matt LaFleur, John Harbaugh, Clint Kubiak, or Brian Flores. Matt LaFleur, 48.4%. John Harbaugh, 20.9%. Brian Flores, 16%. Clint Kubiak, 14.6%. So that is how that checks out there. How do you feel about those results? Are you surprised by them at all, Tim, or is that kind of what you expected?
A little bit, because in the fan base, right, the Fire LaFleur crowd has been kind of loud lately. gives me faith in our fan base. Almost half of the fans would rather keep Matt LaFleur in this scenario. And this is not a knock on Harbaugh, Kubiak, or Flores, right? Let's be honest, B-Flow would be a first-year head coach, right? So anywhere he goes, it's going to be his first crack at being a head coach in the NFL. That being said, that's kind of a, roll the dice kind of scenario. You never know what's going to happen. With Harbaugh and Kubiak, no, I've been there, seen that, done that. I'm not going to take those guys over Matt LaFleur. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So then I took it a step further because Goody's been a part of this conversation as well, right? And I said, Packer fans, if you can only keep one of man, I suck so bad at top. If Packer fans, if you can only keep one, no, I did that right. I should have threw a comma in there. Who would you rather keep in Green Bay, Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst? This one surprised me, Tim.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Goody, 52.9%. Matt LaFleur, 47.1%. Now, again, Goody and the front office, they went and got Micah Parsons, so they're coming fresh off a huge win there, right? That's a big get, so maybe that's what kind of sent it over. But if you had to choose between those two, the fan base is saying Brian Gutekunst over Matt LaFleur, but again, 52% to 47% is pretty damn close, so it's kind of split there. That made me feel kind of good, though, to be honest with you, Tim, to know that half of the fan base, essentially just barely more than half of the fan base, likes our general manager. And you guys know I'm not necessarily down on him. I want him back. But I'm kind of like, man, I think Matt LaFleur's catching a lot of heat for some of the stuff that might be going wrong with the roster, if that makes sense. What's your take on that? That surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised because, I participated in being the Goody stan that I am. I voted for Matt in this scenario, if it's one or the other. However, I understand the thought that, hey, keep Goody in this scenario. If it's one or the other, keep Goody because we just lost his understudy. Right. So who are you going to bring in here, to formulate this roster and manage this football team? So I understand the fans' premise here. With Goody being the slight favorite, 52 to 47%. Makes sense.
Yeah, it made sense to me too. I kind of, if you had told me the result's going to be 52 to 47, I would have thought it was slightly in favor of Matt LaFleur. But then after I seen the poll results, I was like, you know what? The Micah Parsons get, Matthew Golden finishing strong. That looks like a good draft pick, right? So, yeah, I can see it. We got Jason Waugh with the Super Chat. Thank you so much, buddy. Matt LaFleur is great behind the scenes, play design, quarterback development, not the best in games, clock management, controlling emotions. If he stays, things must, in all caps, change, is what Jason Waugh said. I agree on the emotions. I wish he could control his emotions a little bit. Here's the problem with it, though, Jason, and I had to kind of check myself on this. John Madden, Coach Madden said years ago, the worst thing you can do as a head coach is be a phony because players will see right through that. And once they realize you're a phony, they won't listen to a damn thing you've got to say. All bets are off, right? If that's who Matt LaFleur is, you better be yourself, right? It's like Nick Sirianni in Philly. People make fun of his quirkiness, right? He's being himself, and players responded. Not this year. I know they're out just as quick as we are, but they've won a Super Bowl with him, right? They've had recent success. You got to be yourself, and if that's who Matt is, now controlling emotions, I think you could still be yourself, like Jason's saying here. But the way I think about it is, don't make a specific play call based off how you're feeling in this exact moment. Like, crap, we ain't been able to get nothing to go going on offense. Let's go for it on fourth down. I think he's made decisions like that sometimes. Like, we got to get something going. Like, you're trying to force it. Others would look at it as a positive, like, well, he believes in his offense, and I can get that too. So appreciate the super chat there, Jason. You the man. And Pack Attack with the super chat, winning over feelings with the shoulder shrug. You guys have got to be more detailed than that. I feel like I'm not giving you your money's worth if I don't. What do you think that means there, Tim? Any idea?
I don't know. I can't speak to that, but just thinking about Jason's comment about emotions, I'm with you, Clay. Like you don't want some, obtuse knob as your leader, right? You want someone that feels that emotion, feels that intensity, has a passion, believes in his players, believes in his team, believes in the organization. But yeah, when it comes down to crunch time, do you want a guy that's, emotionally making decisions? I think, that if you talk about controlling your emotions in that sense, I'm with you. Hey, let's make the logistically and logically the best play call in this moment in time and not let my emotions take over and cause
Absolutely.
me to make a bad decision. I feel that, but winning over feelings, I don't know what that means, because winning solves everything, right? You know,
Right. If you're
So-
saying you shouldn't care about how a player feels about a coach, it should just be all about winning. Well, that's how you get to winning. Like
Exactly.
that was Vince Lombardi back in the day, right? Vince Lombardi said, the battles are won in the hearts of men, and once you've won their hearts, they'll follow you anywhere. That stuff matters.
Yep.
If it's just, I don't care what the players think about the coach, we need to win. Love the idea. How do you do that?
Yeah, how
And
do you
again,
do that if you got 53 guys on a roster that can't stand what's going on?
exactly. Totally different ball game, right?
Yep.
Totally different ball game. So appreciate the super chat there, though, Pack Attack. Chris M with the super. Thank you so much. I want Matt LaFleur back, not Goody. All right, there you go. But these massive meltdowns need to stop. How do we keep Matt LaFleur and stop melting down? How did Matt LaFleur cause the meltdown? I think that's the better way of asking it, right, Chris? No one's given me an answer for that yet. Well, it just always happens. Okay. Why did it happen? Well, I don't know. We can't, nobody can answer that. Why did the meltdown happen? I know I asked that question because I honestly want to know how people feel about it. I know I've got my answer to the question. The meltdown happened because the defense gave up a crap ton of points in the second half. The meltdown happened on defense. Now, if we want to give them a cop out, that defense was not the same when Edgerrin Cooper left. He was a demon out there, Tim. That dude was everywhere, right?
Yep.
So he gets hurt, leaves the game, and everything kind of starts to fall apart. Xavier McKinney said today that the reason Colston Loveland was able to attack him the way that he was he was essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, he was running choice routes into the soft spots of the zone. He thought we should have played more man coverage. Now, if you play more man coverage, that makes the running game weaker. I'm not going to push back on a former all-pro safety on what he thinks would have been better. What he's simply saying is if you want to stop Loveland, lock him down in man coverage. You'll notice in the second half, you see McKinney following him sometimes. So it kind of felt like they made an adjustment, like, hey, let's just throw X on him. But you can't call man coverage every play.
Right.
But he was very vocal about that. I thought that's good. He also called Ben Johnson a troll. So I'm going to go get me an X jersey now. You know what I'm saying? So
I love it. I love it.
So yeah,
I mean, I actually felt like we played too much man at times.
I did too.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know what the hell we're talking about, right?
Right. But we do know that we don't really play ball that way in Green Bay anymore, right? We're not going to just readjust the entire defense to key in on one guy or one threat, right?
Right.
You want to stick within your scheme. You don't want to sell out to a tight end or to a receiver or a running back. You want to play within the scheme, right?
Yeah, completely agree. So in terms of stopping the melting down, to me, it was two things. The defense did this in both games against Chicago, right? Now, you couple that with Keyshawn Nixon making a couple penalties, Keyshawn Nixon biting on a double move. I mean, that's what it comes down to, was the defense making mistakes in the second half. I don't know how Matt LaFleur stops the defense from melting down in the second half, other than the two things that come to mind for me. Well, the one thing really at the top of the list is get more veteran-like players on the roster, right? Mm-hmm. You can minimize the mental mistakes if you add some veteran leadership to the roster. So we're going back out there, and that kind of goes back with the Goody and the Matt LaFleur thing that we're talking about here. I'm not saying you should be the oldest team in the league or top 5 oldest. I'm not saying you should be top 10 oldest. I'm not saying you should be in the top half of the oldest team in the league. I'm just simply saying, can we not be the youngest for once, please? Somebody in a Patreon, gosh, what was his name? Dane. I think it was Dane Stromstad. I'm going to screw the name up here. Dane Stromstad. He said the average age of the Indiana Hoosiers football team is 22 and a half years old, Tim. The average age of the Green Bay Packers is 25.1. Think about that. Look how close we are to having the same average age of players from a college program. That's just wild. Absolutely wild statistics. So thank you for that, Dane. Appreciate the super chat, Chris. Yeah. Jake, go ahead. You got something, Tim?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think that's a sign that, you want to be young, you want to be fast, you want to be quick, you want to develop, but Absolutely. You also don't want to forget to sprinkle in some veterans in there, and maybe a couple of guys that you can pick up, in free agency that, might be at or past that dirty 30 number that we all know about in the NFL. But you got to mix in some more veteran talent, I think, in those situations. And also when you talk about the collapse in the second half, one thing I think, in defense of Jeff Hafley in that defense, one thing Matt LaFleur could have done with us getting the ball in the third quarter, winning the middle 8, winning the ball game, is RPO game, break out the Malik Willis playbook. I don't care. Run the ball, short passes, move the sticks, move the clock, right? Keep your defense on the sidelines, relaxing, and put yourself in a position to win that ball game by multiple scores. And instead, we went out there all gas, no break. You know, for everyone saying Matt's too conservative, I just I don't understand it.
And in the second half, guys, I mean, we threw the ball. Like I said, the first 4 drives, we threw the ball 10 times, ran it 4.
And granted, it wasn't easy to run the football on that Bears front. Like, let's be honest, it was tough. You know, we're banged up on the O-line. It was tough to get any kind of run game going, but that's still not an excuse to bail on it. You've got to run the football, right?
Absolutely. So Jake Urton, I hope I'm saying that right, bub, with the super chat. Thank you so much. He said, I think Micah said it right. Matt LaFleur is a great coach. It comes down to players not only maybe don't do their job, maybe doing their job. Not only doing their job, but taking that extra step beyond that, down in and down out. That's how special things happen. And I love that some of the veteran leaders on the team did step up and say that. Like, it's about execute. That was the thing that X said, right? X said, we got to execute better. We got to execute better. We got to execute. Fans hate hearing that. They think it's a cop-out. No, that's the reality.
No, that's football. That's football.
Yeah.
Players got to play, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And so thank you so much for the super there, buddy. And I agree with like what's your opinion there with Micah, definitely, man. Let's see here. Pack Attack with the super. Second part of your response, answer my question. Got it. Thank you, Pack Attack. I hate that you had to use a super to let us know, bub. We greatly appreciate that, man. And then we got Jamal with the super chat. Said, oh, look at that picture right there. You kidding me? Look at Reggie back there with the young whippersnapper. You love to see it.
Love that.
Love the guy sticking up for Matt. He's a great coach. As Micah said, players have to do their job. There's another one, right? McManus makes two out of 3 of those kicks, or the O-line blocks in the third quarter. It's a different combo. That's not on the coach. And I completely agree, man. Completely agree. There was somebody that rattled off a bunch of stuff. They called in on the Wildy and Tao show, and it was such a good call, man. I mean, it was so spot on. It was like the coaches can't catch that ball for Jaden Reed. And listen, this isn't shade at Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed, they said that he was inconsolable on the floor of the locker room after that game. I love Bird. I love Jaden Reed. That dude is just like, I'm so glad he's a Green Bay.
That's who you want as a wideout, right?
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. Hey, it hit me in the hand. I should have caught that damn ball. I love that. I love it.
But they said coaches are not the reason that Jaden Reed didn't catch that ball. Coaches are not the reason that Keyshawn Nixon went in and jumped on top of the pile. Coaches are not the reason that Brandon McManus missed 3 field goals or 2 field goals and an extra point, right? And you go, well, it's on the coach to get them prepared. Yes, it is. Completely agree with that, right? However,
but then they walk onto the field and preparation's over with. We got to play ball.
Kicking is the simplest thing to talk about in this with this specific topic, Tim, because it's like, what else is a coach? What is a coach supposed to do for a kicker for him to make the kick?
Right.
Like.
And I think it's important that fans remember that the kicking game, when you're talking about place kicking, that's a 3-pronged approach. You need a good snap, you need a good hold, and you need a good boot on that football. And I think on a lot of those, we had 2 out of 3 in that scenario. I think we had a couple funny snaps. I thought, Daniel Williams did a good job of getting that ball placed. And Brandon just pulled a few of them, man. It is what it is.
Yep. And you know what, Tim? I still have faith in Brandon McManus to a certain extent, but every position on this team, as we go into the offseason, we start to break down the salary cap and the roster cut decisions and the cap savings and everything in between. If we can find a better kicker, I'm all for going and getting a better kicker.
He's teaching 5th grade English right now somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah, hey, see, here you go again. I've had to hear this so much. I got people saying it in the Patreon group now. Like, come on, people. And we're about to get into the next topic here with 16 players that got signed a futures contract. And yes, spoiler alert, the substitute teacher made the cut. All right.
Don't quote me on that. He might be teaching 12th grade history or something. I don't know.
Right. They're going to call us fake news. So with that being said, Tim, we said we were going to go 12 to 15 minutes, and we went 30. Look at us. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the players and what they said about Matt LaFleur. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? Let us know in the comments how you feel. And maybe the emotions have cooled a little bit, and the people and some of the folks that were all for Matt, us moving on from Matt, maybe you feel different now. Maybe after everything that's unfolded, you were okay with keeping Matt, and now maybe you're just fed up and you want him gone. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you know when we go live. All right,
Can
next
I pop one up real quick before we move on?
Absolutely, man.
I don't want to delay us any further. I had one start in the chat from Bates.
Now's the time to do it, sir.
Yeah, earlier Bates hit it on the head. He was talking about B-Flow. Here we go. Flores was previously Miami's head coach. I forgot about that. Thank you, Bates.
Gotcha.
So B-Flow would not have been a first-year head coach, but again, still not taking any of those names over Tupac LaFleur for sure. But thank you, Bates, for confirming.
Absolutely. And Coach Lynn said earlier, too, I had this one, Mark, players have to play better, period, point blank. Completely agree with that. And then J. Cole also said, the further away the game gets, the more and more I think Matt LaFleur will be back with the multi-year extension. It's going to come down to money, Jay. That's what it's going to come down to. If they come in with an insulting offer, Matt may go, you know what, screw it. Well, I'll go somewhere else, not necessarily this year unless they decide to trade him, but maybe he coaches his contract out.
Maybe something in between that and top of the market money.
Yeah.
And you meet in the middle, right?
Yeah, could be. Yeah. So we'll see though, man. Only time will tell. And we will be here every step of the way. All right, Tim, let's shift gears now. And let me make a mental note there real quick. We're going to talk now about these roster moves, and we'll keep this to about 10 minutes, but I want to get your take on all these. And people were going, why do we care about the futures? This is the stuff that rounds your roster out sometimes. When you're going into an off season where you've got to re-sign players, right, and you don't know who's going to be back or whatnot, what you're kind of doing is building the basement with these type of players, right? You're building that floor, that foundation. Like, okay, if this guy, and this guy, if negotiations fall through and we're not bringing them back and we don't find somebody in the draft, these are the guys we're going to have to lean on as a backup plan until we get somebody in here, maybe at a further stage, camp cuts, then you can replace the players that left, that type of thing. So these are guys that you obtain rights to, right? And you now have them for the foreseeable future on a futures contract. People have explained to me before, it's essentially you've got rights for 3 years is really what it comes down to. I don't know if that's the case or not. You guys do your own research there. But here are the 16 Packers or players that were signed a futures contract for the Packers, all right? Tackle, Brant Banks. Defensive lineman, Dante Barnett. Guard, Carson Barnhart. Defensive lineman, Anthony Campbell. Tight end, McCollin Castles. That's the kid from Tennessee, I believe. Tackle, Dalton Cooper. Tight end, Drake Dabney. We've talked about him a little bit. Defensive lineman, James Esther, going to continue to be on the practice squad in the bottom half of this roster, obviously, Tim. Kicker, Lucas Avrasic. People are probably getting the misconception I don't like Lucas Avrasic. I love Lucas Avrasic. I was so happy when he made the trip to New York, and it was like, okay, they cut him, but they're obviously want to keep him in the future. I think he's a great dude. I think he's got potential to be a good kicker. He's shown he got the franchise record for the longest kick now, right? So he's got a big leg. I'm just so sick of my wife trolling me about this, man. So,
Mandy's not going to let you live it down.
Never, dude. Never. Cornerback Tyron Herring, linebacker Jamin Johnson, which, by the way, Jamin Johnson didn't play a whole lot of snaps this year, but his PFF grade looked pretty promising. It was kind of, I was a little impressed. Like, hey, maybe there's something there. Maybe that's guy we look up in a couple of years and go, all right, he's actually a contributor. Maybe someone kind of like a Christian Welch, where at times I know you and I, Tim, we were excited about Christian Welch being on the practice squad, and you can elevate him when you need him. I thought he showed flashes. So
that's what you want to see with these guys, right? Limited reps, limited opportunities, but you're maximizing them, and you're jumping off of the tape, and you're jumping off the stat sheet. It's a good sign.
Yeah. Next, this is one I'm really excited about. It's the picture I actually included right here. Love this dude. Love his running style. Love the fact that they've got him signed here. Damian Martinez, the running back from Miami that we talked about, right? He was like ranked 102nd on our big board. We had him pretty high on the board. I'm excited to see what he does moving forward. Safety Mark Perry, wide receiver Will Shepard, running back Pierre Strong Jr., another guy that's very interesting. He's been in the league, I want to say 3 or 4 years now. and tight end Messiah Swinson to reserve/future contracts. General Manager Brian Gutekunst announced transactions Monday. All 16 players finished the season on the Packers practice squad or spent time on it during the 2025 season. So, Tim, I want to get your take on all these, maybe one or two that jumps out to you. The big thing that you look at when you look at these players, the fact that all 16 finished the season on the practice squad or spent time there, they're familiar with the system. They're familiar with Green Bay's facilities, how they operate in practice. I don't think people put enough stock in how valuable a practice squad is, because you know, if you practice, what is it, the piss poor practice, something about performance, as the old saying my high school coach used to say, you're only as good as you practice, period, case closed. I'm sure Coach Lynn will attest to that. So you got guys that are familiar with the practice squad, familiar with the team. I think these are good moves, and I think it's only a matter of time, if he doesn't get cut, that we see Damian Martinez potentially get some playing time maybe next year, because we don't know what's going to happen with the backup running backs, right? So anyway, what's your take on all these players here, man? I thought it was a pretty nice list on the surface. Not all of them will be here, right? There'll be some shuffling, but I like the base here.
I agree, and I like your comment about practice squad players. You know, this is modern day NFL, right? That's your developmental program. Think about these guys. They're going against the ones. They're going against the ones and twos all the time. That's why they're there. And if they get an opportunity to step up, make a little noise, you play your way onto this roster, you could become a superstar in the NFL. It's happened before. And I agree with you about Martinez and Pierre Strong, for that matter, especially with, you know, the question marks around Marshawn Lloyd. You know, we don't know what the future holds for him. Hopefully that he'll be able to be healthy enough to play some football for us at some point. But names that jump out to me are, of course, that Colorado Buffalo Will Shepherd.
Of course, I thought of you.
Been talking about him for 18 months, man. Good to see him. And Messiah Swinson, another guy in that tight end room that I think is, you know, right up there with Drake Dabney as guys that are kind of next to step up and make an impact. You know, you got Tuck Norris coming off injury next year. We need to have a healthy stable of tight ends that can both, you know, be a threat in the pass game and also get out there and block someone to the water cooler. So I like those two names as well. And then on the defensive side of the ball, James Esther, that's one that kind of popped out to me, someone to keep an eye on also.
Big boy, James. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I like the list. Let me hit the super chat, and then I'll give my take on the list as we get ready to wrap that segment up. Jake Urton with the super. Thank you so much. Since Goot generally attacks multiple positions in the draft, I'm hoping they look at doing so with corner and O-line. By the way, you said my name right. Like, good deal. Look at the redneck getting it right.
Nailed it.
There you go. Doesn't happen very often. Y'all enjoy it. Bask in the glory for a second. Corner and O-line, I can't argue with it, Jake. I think it's two positions of need.
Yep.
I don't want to say this, Tim, because, you know, I try not to fan like this. I try not to single people out, but I'm done with Key, man. I want to move on from Key. I just don't want him on the team. He made a comment today, and it's just mind-boggling. I mean, he basically said he hit every one of his goals this year, and he was happy with his performance. And it's just like, what player says that? Like, you know, what great player throughout the history of football or any sport, Tim, goes, yeah, I hit all my goals. I'm happy with the way the season went. Like, you're either getting better or you're getting worse, right? And then to commit. So, first of all, people in the comments are like, Super Bowl wasn't a goal? That wasn't a goal on your list? Like, what are we doing here, you know? And then the other thing was, how can you be completely happy with that with all the penalties, just the silly penalties you committed? I'm not talking about pass interference or holding or anything, right? Just the personal foul penalties and doing stuff, you know, jumping on the pile and all. I don't know, man. It rubbed me the wrong way. It really did. So corner, I would put that on the list. I'm excited to see if they decide to run with Trayvon Diggs. And the way that's going to unfold, guys, I'll have to look at the structure of his contract and at what date they have to make a decision. I imagine it would be somewhere around training camp or the end of camp. Maybe there's a clause in there that they have to pick up his salary at an earlier date. You know, sometimes that stuff's in there.
My question would be where are we at with Key's contract? He's got a year left, right?
Yeah, I've got it right here, Tim. Keyshawn, he's on the cap for $7.1 million this year, okay? And if you cut him outright, you free up $5 million. That's how that works.
So we might get two birds with one stone kind of scenario, right?
Yeah.
Keep
I would-
Trayvon and let
Yeah.
K9 go back to Cali, or
Mhm.
find another opportunity if it's time to move on, right?
Yeah, and if it were me, and again, I'm not watching practice, and maybe the coaches don't see as much value in him, but if they look at Trayvon Diggs the way I look at Trayvon Diggs, I'm keeping him. I'm going to try to lower that number. His cap hit is 15.5 million. I'm going to try to lower that, and that may come through a restructure where we meet in the middle. We'll guarantee a little bit more money for you, write you a check, but let's lower the overall number a touch. It's a pay cut, but you're getting guaranteed money as opposed to you having to play through the season, and then obviously you get hurt and there's no more future money and all that, right? So
Right.
that comes into play just a touch. But if you move on from Keyshawn, you free up $5 million, and you look at it as a cornerback room as a whole, that kind of lowers Trayvon's number down to 10 million. And now if you save more money overall, with a restructure, let's say you get his cap number down to 7 or 8 million, or I'm sorry, you get it down to 12 million, which essentially with minus key is down to about 7 million. I feel better about that. Essentially what you're doing, if you're able to do exactly what I just said, it's like you're kind of back to square one with Keyshawn being on the roster or not being on the roster, but the cap hit is now allocated essentially towards Trayvon Diggs. And I do think Trayvon Diggs, based off all the tape I've watched on him, is significantly better than Keyshawn Diggs. So,
and I also think there's a lot of validity to your point when it comes to the culture conversation. Jason was talking about that earlier. You need a culture change. Well, sometimes that means just, moving a couple chess pieces and, getting the right guys in the room all across the board,
All right. Coach Lynn with the comment here says, it's always me with Key. Not the first time he said something like that. I mean, you guys remember it was this time last year at Locker Room Cleanout when he got under a lot of fans' skin, and the media was talking about it, where he said, I'm done returning kicks. I'm cornerback one. And it was like, damn, what happened to I'll do what's best for the team?
Well, and that's why my brain goes right to when you hear that, you think about those kind of comments. It's like, this guy's not taking a restructure, right?
No, yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, probably not. So, and I do think there's a decent chance that Rich Bisaccia won't be back. We'll see. We did a video earlier today. You guys go check it out, where we talked about in 2019, they denied Matt LaFleur enough money to go get one of the top special teams coordinators in the game. And obviously that bit us in the ass for the next 3 years. And then they finally said, okay, let's go spend money. We spent it on Rich Bisaccia, obviously. Mixed feelings there on whether they think, the special teams problems are his fault, or if it's roster building, or if it's on strictly the players. That's an argument for another day. But I completely agree, Coach. It's just a bad look, man. Deadfish says he wants to play with Parsons. He knows that pass rushers make him better. Talking
about Diggs. Yeah.
Great point.
That's a great point. I love that.
And again, you're building that locker room cohesiveness, that culture, right, Tim? You want these guys that enjoy playing with each other to be in the same locker room together, man. They play for each other, right? So you get a little
it's
more.
So hard, right? You got 11 on 11 out there. You need 11 guys to move in unison. Everyone's got to do their job every snap. It's an uphill battle always, but that's a big part of it for sure.
And it's why I got excited about the comments about Matt LaFleur from the team captains. It's you could tell they're kind of taking it personal. Like, I think they'll play even harder for Matt next year, to be honest with you. I think they're going to come out like, okay, they think he's the problem. Let's prove them wrong. You know what I mean? Type thing. It's kind of the vibe I get there. Coach Lynn says Rich is gone. Book it. I'm getting the same vibe, Coach. We should find out pretty soon, though, right? As this coaching carousel continues on. But if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about these Packers roster moves? Obviously, 16 future deals here. Let us know. Maybe there's a player on there that we didn't go in depth on that you got a little more information about. That's not a substitute teacher that you like extra good. All right. If that's the case, let us know in the comments which one you like the most. Maybe you disagree with one. We want to hear from you. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon. So you notify when we go live here in the near future. All right, Tim, last topic of the night here. Make a note on time. We did pretty good with that one. Look at us trying to be professional.
It happens once or twice. You never know.
Every now and again, we luck up on one, right? Devontae Wyatt, he was at Locker Cleanout earlier today, and folks were talking to him. We got a little bit of an injury update here. And maybe you guys already knew this information. It was somewhat new to me. And in season, I'm doing so many things, trying to break down the tape, trying to get the next show structure. And you guys know what we do here, right? So when a player gets hurt, this sucks. This is going to affect production, but push it off to the side and you march forward, right? That's all you can do. So I haven't really put a lot of thought into it. So maybe you guys will find this information valuable like I did. Cameron Azir, make sure you guys go give him a follow at EZEIR Cameron, Cameron. You will not be disappointed. He has so much good content there, Tim. He's
Green Bay local coverage right there for sure.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah. So here was his tweet. Devontae Wyatt has been out since week 13 after fracturing his ankle. He said his timeline could be between 3 to 5 months, depending how the recovery goes on his fractured ankle. Quote, I feel like I got a lot more in the tank. I feel like a double-digit sack year, Pro Bowl, All-Pro. So Devontae Wyatt, obviously, you got the fifth-year option. Thank God he got a little security, Tim, right? He gets $12 million fully guaranteed next year. If they hadn't given him that fifth-year option, he would be going into free agency, right? He would be going into free agency this year and rehabbing an injury and would probably get a minimum contract coming out of it, I would imagine, to kind of a prove it deal. Yeah. This is why I root for these guys to get paid. Me too. That sucks.
Yeah, and you got to think that's not lost on Heavy D, right? He's thinking about this all day, every day. Hey, I've got stability. I can rehab. You see the quote, right?
Yep.
He's ready, man. This guy's ready. Now, we can talk about the numbers and everything. You know, we can break it down, and you know, looks can be deceiving sometimes, but I don't think anyone can debate the fact that Devontae Wyatt is a gigantic piece, literally and figuratively, in this defensive line moving forward. And he's a guy you can build around, man. He really is. And I hope the rehab goes well. And I believe him, you know, I believe him. He's a force of nature, man, and still developing player, right? What is he, 27 now?
Yeah, 20? He is 27. Yeah, he was one of those guys. I think he was 24 when we drafted him. And the people that always say he's too old for the Packers to draft, they had to eat that one. It was hilarious too.
Yeah.
But he's one of those players I've been up and down on, Tim. Let's hear what he had to say at the locker. He may just repeat that quote we just played there from Cameron Azir, but or read from Cameron Azir. Let's see what he had to say here.
I just know, me personally, I just know I got a lot more in the tank. I feel like I got a lot more in the tank than what I put out there this year or the past 2 years I had. I know I have a lot more, and I feel like this injury right here really is gonna help me get above just that hump. Like just showing y'all what I have. So
what's left in the tank then?
You got to see. We got to show you. But I feel like double sack year, Pro Bowl, All Pro, all the little personal goals, Super Bowl. All of that, so that's why I feel like I have.
You hear that, Tim? We got.
I love how he said that. Those little personal goals. Those little personal goals. It doesn't.
Then we got the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. The little personal goals don't mean as much as winning it all. I love that attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, again, boy, you can really spot the turd in the punch bowl, right? That we just got through talking about when you hear the way Devontae Wyatt answered the question and how we talked about, you know, how others may have. So Tom Silverstein put the tweet out, a little bit more detail on the injury, and I learned a little bit here. Like I said, I hadn't dove into it much during the season. Defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt said he broke his fibula and tore a ligament in his ankle. The ligament is the worst of the injuries, but he said he would definitely be ready for training camp. So that's a great sign there that if he is ready for training camp, that gets me fired up. Because, again, you hear what did we say up here, 3 to 5 months. 5 months to today is May. Yeah, no setbacks. He's going to be good to go, right? Good.
And that's where that rehab is an art form, right? You want to push yourself. You have a goal. You want to be back for camp, but you don't want to push too hard, and then you have a setback, and then it's August, and, you know, you're not out there on the field. So best wishes to Heavy D, man. I think he's going to be he'll be ready for camp. I got a feeling.
Yeah, I just looked over here at the screen. We got the Texans and the Steelers going to be kicking off here at 8:30. That's why we try to go live a little early, or at 8 o'clock, whenever it is, so we could all get off here and watch the game. But Stephen A. Smith out there, and he is bundled up in Pittsburgh, Tim. He looks colder than a well digger's ass out there, man. I'm telling you right now.
It's going to be a great game tonight, man.
Yeah.
What more could you want, right? Aaron Rodgers up against a D'Amico Ryans defense. I mean, good Lord, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's cool to see the fan bases kind of gelling together. You can see that, somebody posted that epic meme where it's two gang colors and they're holding both their colors up together, and it
Yeah.
says Steelers Packers fans uniting. So you
Yeah,
love to
I
see
think
it.
I think most of us are Rams fans on the NFC side right now, and Steelers fans on the AFC side, right?
Absolutely. No doubt about that. So again, I liked Wyatt's injury or energy there, and we got a little bit more detail in terms of what's going on with the rehab. I think he's going to be good to go. I think he's going to be motivated too. Yes, he's got a fully guaranteed $12 million this year, but there's nothing after that, guys. He's playing for a contract. He wants to go out there and prove it as soon as possible, right? So this is a guy who's going to be highly motivated. Not that he ever has played unmotivated. And I want to say this too about Devontae Wyatt. I don't feel like he had a good year this year. I don't. However, you cannot ignore the fact that when he was on the field, the defense's numbers were better. That's not a coincidence, right? I mean, it was significantly better. I remember this was before Micah got hurt. When Devontae went down, I remember people talking about, man, this defense, it really took a step back when Devontae went down. Now, when Micah goes down, it's like, okay, now you're without your 3-tech and your best edge defender. Good luck. And that's why you've seen the numbers kind of continue to trickle down. But that's the thing. When we look at these numbers here, they're going to look bad. But I do want to mention, to give the benefit of the doubt to Devontae Wyatt, that the defense was significantly better when he was on the field, okay? And he was drawing double teams from time to time. He was drawing extra attention and all that. But PFF-wise, here's what we got, Tim. His rookie year, he looked like a stud. 69.9. We always say if you score 60 or higher on PFF, good indicator you're going to be a good football player, right? The next year, he drops to a 59.6. Then Jeff Hafley arrives. He jumps to a 66.4. You're like, all right, here we go. We got Devontae Wyatt back on track. This year, he takes a step back to 52.9. Okay. Now that's PFF. And his worst games this year, according to PFF, were just great defensive grade in general. Philly at home, 33.6. New York on the road, New York, 32.9. His best game was Week 1 against Detroit, 78.7. His second best game was on the road in Dallas, a 70.1. Yeah. So you're seeing this year a ceiling of 78.7, but you're seeing a floor of 32.9, right? Now, maybe he's a little banged up as you get later in the year. We'd have to go back and look at the details, and my memory is too bad to kind of do that. But that's how he's looked throughout his career, according to PFF.
PFF, right? From a PFF standpoint, for sure.
So let's cross-check it now. I think we would all agree he's supposed to be a quarterback pass rush specialist, right? I think we'd all agree that. Nobody's looking at Devontae Wyatt like his strength is the run game. He's always been a pass rusher. Even back to college, that's kind of been his strength. It wasn't that great, according to NFL Pro, okay? When you look at defensive linemen, all right, his pressure percentage was 7.7%. Now, keep in mind, he's not playing nose with the touch spy like Kenny was last year and like Kobe Wooden did this year, right? He's not that guy lining up in the A-gap most of the time. He's not that guy that's going to line up in there and have to face a double team. What we do with Devontae Wyatt is we put him at the 3 to a 4 tech, so we get a wide 9 edge outside of him, and you can get a one-on-one matchup with a guard in Devontae Wyatt. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean they didn't roll the coverage. It doesn't mean they didn't chip on him. Maybe that has something to do with this as well. But his pressure being at 7.7%, keep in mind, NFL Pro will not let us distinguish between interior defensive linemen and edge rushers. So you've got to count on each team having 4 when you're tallying up this pressure percentage, okay? So with that being said, 4 times 32, let's just for easy math call it 120, okay? If you're in the top 120 in quarterback pressure percentage, you're considered starting caliber according to quarterback pressure percentage. That being said, he came in the 57th spot, all right? Essentially what you're saying is including edge defenders. Now, some of them are listed as stack backers, so it filters out a little bit. I don't want to be too confusing here with the numbers, but NFL Pro, like Micah Parsons listed as a linebacker because he moved around so much, right? We all agree he's a pass rushing edge defender predominantly. So with all that being said, though, this kind of says out of 4 positions on each team, he would actually be a starting caliber number 2 pass rusher. That's probably good enough in terms of quarterback pressure percentage to be a starting 3 tech. However, if you take those 2 numbers, Tim, PFF grade and the pressure percentage, I do not feel like Devontae Wyatt is our 3 tech. That's our dog moving forward. That's going to be our 3 tech of the future. It's a tier 1 position of importance. I think you got to keep looking for that guy.
Me too.
it kind of goes back to the comment earlier where someone had a super chat and they said, go after multiple positions. It was Jamal said it, right? Jamal said he thinks it should be O-line and cornerback. I think it was, maybe it wasn't. Whoever it was, I apologize. They said O-line and cornerback. I personally believe you should focus on O-line and three tech.
D-line, yeah.
Yeah, three tech as well.
I think we all agree on the positions of need. It's just the order at which you approach them, right?
Right. And here's the thing too. There's going to be prospects as we build our draft board, and I've got a ton of grades, and I'm up over like 500 PFF grades added in. We've got over 800 prospects on the draft board already. It's not going to be sorted by value yet, but you're already seeing the names file in, the colleges, the positions, the PFF grades from 23 and 24. So you guys go check that out. I'll see if I can get Emilio to update the link in the Patreon group over at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Another perk supporting the show over there. $3 get you access to everything. You'll have your own copy of the draft board at all times over there.
The exclusive Excelio edition. I love it.
Now, what I was getting at is there's going to be prospects in this draft on our board like a Tyleek Williams where it's, well, he's more of a nose. He's more of a nose. Well, time will tell that, right? He was one of the higher graded defensive tackles amongst rookies this year. He was kind of a hit. Now, going into that, we look at it like, well, he's not really a true three tech. That's true. But there's going to be times that you want those bigger body defensive linemen, even at a three tech if you're playing a run heavy team. And Tyleek Williams, just to give you guys an example here, trying to talk into the mic and look, give me just a second. With Tyleek, 1, 2, 3, 4, we had him as the 5th best defensive tackle, and he seems to have flashed. You guys know my draft crush was Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. Love that dude. I was like, that's the guy I want, first round pick.
I thought we were going to get him. I really did.
Yeah. And then what happened? He gets hurt, right? I want to say he played a little over 100 snaps, but boy, he was the highest graded defensive tackle according to PFF. In terms of our draft board, we actually have Walter Nolan as the 3rd best defensive tackle. You hear that and you go, Clayton, you just said he was your favorite three tech. He was your favorite defensive tackle. Why is he 3rd on your board? It's not my opinion on the board. We remove our ego, our opinion of these players. That's not how our board's comprised. It's comprised of the people who put out draft information that we trust the most. Your Greg Cosell's, your Dane Bruglers, your Daniel Jeremiah, former NFL scout, folks like that. This board has nothing to do with our personal opinion. It's everything to do with those professional opinions of people that I trust, not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry that fills out a draft board, right? And then all that information is thrown into the database, and we come up with a grade, low number wins. That's a part of our draft coverage every year. So that being said, I want to focus on three tech, Tim. And you know what? If you go draft one and he's a stud, and Devontae Wyatt comes out and plays the best football of his career, and he warrants a new
great problem to have, right?
Amen, sir. That's exactly the plan. And it kind of goes back to that original comment where people say, you know, it seems like Goody drafts multiple at the same position. Yeah, take multiple swings, right? You took a swing on Javon Bullard at safety and Evan Williams. They were both hits. Now you got a starting nickelback, and you got a great safety in Evan Williams, right? So,
let's hit on a couple of corners now, and we'll be all good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just kind of the update there on our boy Devontae Wyatt. So, see, we got one more comment we'll hit, we'll wrap up. Wolfman Madden says three techs are a rare human size. Can't have enough of them. Amen, Wolfman.
And they don't grow on trees, right? They're kind of tough to find.
Yeah, and Bill Belichick said this one time, and Michael Lombardi always echoes it. Bill Belichick said, everybody thinks they've got a three tech, and very few teams do. I hope Goody doesn't just assume and think we got a three tech in Devontae Wyatt, because, again, the numbers do not suggest he's a top 5 three tech, right? So keep swinging. And like you said, Wolfman, yeah, you can't coach size. You can't do it, right? Some people have got that rare human size that he's talking about, and others just don't, so that's all I got on that. So if you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about the Devontae Wyatt injury status? We want to hear from you. Maybe you disagree with him. Maybe you think Devontae Wyatt is a slam dunk. He is that dude. You want to extend that contract. The 5th-year option at $12 million would suggest that Brian Gutekunst disagrees with my opinion that I'm not completely sold. I think they probably are sold, and that's a bridge to give them time to get that contract extension. The problem is the ankle and the leg injury to Tim, now it throws a little wrench into that, right? So that's the way that's going to go. But if you guys are watching this back later, let us know in the comments what you think about Devontae Wyatt. And I do think that's good news with the rehab and the return date that's set. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you never miss out on our live streams. Tim, you got anything else you want to add here, bro, before we wrap up, man?
No, just happy to jump on. Great content earlier today, keeping us up to date. And, shout out to the PTA fam. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and definitely join the Patreon, because that's the quickest way to get the up-to-the-minute info for sure.
And when I do these random live streams, I'm trying to get in the habit of throwing in our general chat. There's multiple chats in there, too. You can kind of chat it up with the community. I try to throw in the general chat, hey, going live in 10 minutes, if I have a random stream, just so you guys get first notice on that as well. Packer Doug says, Belichick had Wilfork, mother of all that is holy. What a unit. And here's what's crazy. Before Wilfork, they had Richard Seymour, remember?
Man.
They had Richard Seymour, and then they drafted Wilfork or signed, however they got a hold of Wilfork. You guys comment exactly how they got him. I can't remember offhand. But I remember you can actually find it. It's on a Football Life, Bill Belichick behind the scenes talking about that whole situation. They ended up trading Richard Seymour, I think, to the Raiders, and they extended Wilfork. So it shows that whole transition of, man, Richard Seymour's still a great player, but Wilfork's going to be a dog, right? So, yeah.
An absolute menace in the middle, for sure. Wilfork.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. That is it. We're going to get out of here. Appreciate y'all jumping in and hanging out in the comments. You guys and gals are awesome. Do us a big favor. Spin those laces. Hit that like button before you walk out of here. Let's go root on Aaron Rodgers and these Pittsburgh Steelers. We got 25 minutes till kickoff. Plenty of time to go grab you a cold one and get settled in. I'm going to go build a fire downstairs. We're in the 20s tonight, so we're going to get a little fire rolling. I'll make it halfway through the first quarter. Me and Lincoln will be snuggled up, all asleep on the couch. Man, we'll be out cold.
You got 20s down there in Tennessee?
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah,
it might be warmer up here in Green Bay right now.
It's crazy how that works sometimes. But it's funny, though. You guys will stay negative for like 2 weeks, and we get that maybe 1 or 2 days out of the year. So, but anyway, everybody have a good night, and tweet at us during the game, man. Let us know what you think about the game tonight as well. I thought about doing a live watch party, but my wife's she's going to hurt me really, really bad. And for those of you who are wondering who Lincoln is, I say I'm snuggled up with Lincoln on the couch. I'm not cheating on my wife. That's my German Shepherd. Okay, calm down. All right. That's my German Shepherd. So, again, if you want to support us, the best way to do so, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Everybody have a great night. That's Tim. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.